I had to wait 36 years for this event to happen. But it did this past May. And I was so excited. I'd been waiting 36 years to see the sequel to my favorite movie. That's right. Anybody guess what it is?
Top Gun.
Top Gun, yes. I got to see Top Gun Maverick. I had seen Top Gun in 1986, and that movie almost changed my life. I almost went out and joined the Navy the next day because I wanted to fly fighter jets. Then I realized I wore these things, and there was no way that the Navy was going to put me in a cockpit wearing glasses. So I went on to other things. But it was only a few years later that I realized what an impact Top Gun had on me, and that there was some similarities between me and Tom Cruise. You can see the similarities, right? Well, maybe not. I guess it was similarities between me and Maverick. You see, Maverick, when he was flying against a ghost. And Iceman, Val Kilmer, told him that he was dangerous. And that's what I had turned into in my teenage years. I had turned dangerous. My parents had gone through a divorce. And as some of you know from other stories, I was in northern Michigan at our property with all girl cousins. So that meant that I had to climb the trees higher, I had to run faster, ride my bike faster, all of those things because I was competing against all those girls, and there was no way I was going to let them beat me, even though they were older and, well, let's face it, wiser. We had our bikes up there, but there were no sidewalks. We had paths, but you know, there's those things that come through paths that trees have, roots. And you know what happens when a tire hits a root? Well, I turned into Maverick and I could fly. And I did just that. I flew over those handlebars. Flying was great. That landing, though, not so much fun. Fun! I couldn't breathe. But I got up and I did it again. A few months later, boom, I was flying and landing. And I never did perfect that landing. We also played a game when I was a kid called Ghost in the Graveyard. Now, if you're not familiar with Ghost in the Graveyard, it's a combination of tag and hide and seek. And we had a flagpole in the middle of our property and a pretty good open space around it. And with Ghost in the Graveyard, you had one person that was the ghost, and they went out and hid, and then you had to count through the clock hours, and then everybody would go out and try to find the ghost. And then the ghost would chase you, and if you got tagged, you were the next ghost, unless you got back to the safe spot. Well, the safe spot was the flagpole. And I would see the ghost, scream "Ghost in the Graveyard," and go running as fast as I could back for that flagpole. Now, that flagpole was cemented in concrete and solid steel. You know what happens when forehead hits solid steel flagpole? The flagpole does not move. I tested this theory not once, but 2, 3 times, and it never moved. But my mama, she got really upset with us and told us we couldn't play Ghost in the Graveyard anymore because I was dangerous. As time went on, I started watching these kung fu movies. I can do that, you know, and started practicing some of those movements. And my older cousin Joanne, she was 3 years older than I was, and so one time I had been practicing this roundhouse, and I thought I was gonna do this with her. Well, she grabbed a hold of my ankle, and down I went, about that far from a horseshoe stick. Realized that maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So these are the lessons that you learn in life from your older female cousins, that they really can put you in your place, whether you want to believe it or not. Lessons learned, hard lessons, but lessons nonetheless. Thank you very much.